Well, if you want to change the speed of a clip, it's quite possible you've got some problems ahead of you. It depends. If you've got an image sequence and you want to make your image sequence exactly twice as fast, then you need exactly half as many frames, and that's simple. You just throw them out. So simple. Now if you have an image sequence and you want it to be twice as slow, you need to make up some new frames, and these will need to be the related to their neighboring frames. In other words, we have, say, an image there, and we'll have that there. Now traditionally the way that has been handled is by means of a simple blend, or indeed you could say, well, I'll just go for the nearest neighbor. So in this instance we'll have, say, that, and this one might be this, or that one might be that, or something like that, except it wouldn't be that. So that's how it's normally handled. There is, however, this completely gorgeous new technology called optical flow, and it works in a much more intelligent way. Nuke isn't alone in using this technology, but it is still nonetheless very impressive. And what I'm going to do, and the way it works is to make up, I suppose, genuine new frames. In other words, it'll look at the neighboring frames, and it'll make an intelligent guess as to what should be in the between frame. And like I said, it does this very intelligently. There are some parameters. I'm not going to go through them in vast detail, but I'll just run through them. The method, the optical flow method, in the optical flow node, if you choose the frame or the blend mode, it ceases to be optical flow. Essentially, it just goes to a normal kind of, this goes to a normal blend solution, which is much faster but not nearly as accurate. And then you have these two pull down values. A speed is the default, and the default speed is half as much. If you want your speed to double, you do that. I beg your pardon, that's actually the other way around. So this is double 0.5, and that's 2 times as slow. So we can go 10 times as slow, something like that. Okay, so like I say, the default is 0.5. So that's the speed. In other words, if you set this value to speed, you'll play with this and you'll ignore that. Okay. Now if you choose instead to set down to use the source frame method, what you'll have to do is start setting down keyframes. So you'll say, well, at this frame I want it to be frame 1, go forward a few hundred frames, and I want it to be frame 40 or something like that. And you'll be setting keys and then probably playing around with a curve editor later on or something. So and this we choose the method of working. The default in both of these is normal. This takes longer, produces a better result, and sometimes it can, it takes longer and produces a better result. So there's your option. Curiously enough, these go in different directions. Here we've got normal going up to extreme, which is better, and here we've got normal, which is in the middle, going up to simple, which is worse. So, and then down to occlusion, which is better. and this is the warp mode. What is produced in this in the between state is in fact it's a warp. It's not a blend. So when we are when we set the warp mode, that is what we are playing with. I'm not going to go into detail as to what these different values are. Suffice to say that this is the most reliable. This is much faster, and this takes ages and produces some very good results. Right, what else have we got? That's pretty much it. You can play. You can take the block size down for more accuracy, vector detail up for more accuracy. Oh, where is it? Down. Down for more accuracy, smoothness up. You can play around with these values. It really depends on the amount of movement, most of all the amount of movement being done in your image, and what sort of movement. And you'll find that some settings work fine for some kind of footage and not for others. But as for the result, well, let me show you. I'm just going to go full screen on this. Now, on the, actually, I'll just remind myself what we've got here. Yes, that was an optical flow versus a read time, and a read time was just it's another a curve-based edit of the time flow, I suppose, and the result was this. Now the one on the left is the optical flow. See how smooth it is next to the other one. See, up in steady frames. But every now and then, though, you do get, especially when a moving part crosses over into the background, you get some distortion. Say just here by his hand, at that point near where it touches the wall, there's a bit of distortion. Underneath the arm some more, there just near the top of his hand, and round there. So you've got to play with those values quite carefully, but it's certainly worth big bucks. It's a beautiful way of retiming, and if you can choose this method above any other, because of its high demand as far as render goes, your best bet is to render out your footage and then read it back in again. And if you are incidentally going to retime, no matter how clever something like this application is, it does make sense to do it in regular increments, regular multiples. For instance, half as fast, or twice as fast, or 3/4 as fast, or something like that, rather than 37.69 times as fast, or something peculiar. You could land up with a much more unreliable result. So that's retiming.